Okay, guys, let's look at some lines here to continue our analysis of this very interesting marriage relationship. All right. At the beginning, we have Lady Macbeth asking about Banquo being gone from court, and I find it quite interesting that she has to now ask to speak to her husband. So we have sort of contrast here from her prior, aggression to a more foreshadowing, perhaps, of the dying marriage. So remember, we're in the tragic realm, and clearly the marriage here would be distorted. In her following lines, I find this probably one of the most significant sections of the scene, because at this point Macbeth is not here. So these comments do not are not heard by him. So when she explains that naught is had, that means nothing that we've done. So naught here means nothing. So nothing we've done at this point. All the energy we have spent to ascend the throne has been for naught. And it would be safer to be that which we destroy than by destruction dwell in doubtful joy. Now, I'm going to move you quickly to some other lines that this parallels later in the scene, where we see Macbeth actually saying similar things, but of course remember, he has not heard what she has said. So if she's saying that it would be safer to be that which we destroy than by destruction dwell in doubtful joy, what she's meaning is, it'd be better if we had not killed the king, and thus we would not have to be dwelling in this doubtful joy. So like our joy here is really doubt. The joy we feel is doubtful. It's not secure. Not secure. Okay? Down here, you find a very similar line from about 19 and following. Macbeth, in her presence, though, says, "Better be with the dead, whom we to gain our peace have sent to peace, than on the torture of the mind to lie in restless ecstasy." So, quite similar in terms of what he's feeling as well as what she's feeling, that they would be safer in this life. They would be actually living in peace, but they have actually sent someone to peace, i.e. Duncan. Duncan is living in peace despite this horrific incidents, but their minds are tortured. Okay, I'm going to go back up now. I'll do a different color to these lines, okay, because these are also very crucial to helping us understand the sort of decay of the marriage. "How now, my lord, why do you keep alone of sorriest fancies your companions making?" using those thoughts which should indeed have died, with them they think on. So, why are you keeping alone? That's very interesting. Of sorriest fancies your companions making. So, what are these companions? They are Macbeth's thoughts, which of course we know are full of evil, his evil thoughts. Okay. So what we have here is a breach in the marriage. All right. A breach in the marriage. You know, the question here is probably from her standpoint is, does she even matter? She's trying again to use the same sort of argument she's used before. Things without all remedy should be without regard. What's done is done. So this section is a petition of that prior voice, that prior assertiveness that she had when she was, seemingly in charge. Prior assertiveness is what that says. And now it does seem like she really doesn't matter. Okay. All right. I'm going to talk now in a different color. I'll go brown. About the lines up here. So, I know this is getting messy, but just hang with me. We have scorched the snake, not killed it. So, she'll close and be herself, whilst our poor Malice remains in danger of her former tooth. So, we have scorched the snake. Who is the snake here? At this point, he's referencing Banquo. The snake here is Banquo, he thinks, even though he's really the snake. And we have the motif, again, of sort of this sleeplessness coming back in after this with the, where is it? Oh, yeah, right here. Okay. Let me read this whole section. We have scorched the snake, not killed it. Snake being Banquo. She'll close and be herself, whilst our poor Malice remains in danger of her former tooth. Now, here, I'm going to pause. Sorry, I forgot to mention this earlier. So, here you've got the idea of Banquo, right, who is dead at this point, and he knows that, or he knows he's about to be. Actually, he is. And yet he still fears him. All right. So, dead, yet he still fears him. I don't guess I have to write all this. All right. Oh, gotta go back. Okay. Fears. Oh. Just know that it says fears him. Okay. Why? Because of the prophecy. So, I'm going to try to get that. Oh, I can't get it. Fears him. All right. Anyway, because the prophecy says that his, remember, he will not be a king, but he will beget kings. Okay? All right. Now, go back to this terrible dreams thing I mentioned a minute ago. Sorry. You have him saying, these terrible dreams shake us nightly. Right? So here we just have the continuation of that motif of sleeplessness, of nightmares, the repercussions of this horrific circumstance. I want to also point out some really important lines here in regard to the sleeplessness motif. Duncan is in his grave, he says. Okay. After life's fitful fever, he sleeps well. Treason has done his worst, nor steel, nor poison, malice, domestic quarrel, having nothing can touch him further. Right? So, quite a bit of irony here. How so? Well, think about it at the end. Duncan sleeps well, while Macbeth and Lady Macbeth are suffering. Okay, yet Duncan is dead, and they are alive. All right. You have Lady Macbeth returning with the idea of looking like the innocent flower again. So she's trying really hard here to maintain sort of this idea of don't be so anxious. Come on, gentle my lord, sleek o'er your rugged looks. Be bright and jovial among your guests tonight. So right after he has just talked about how distraught he is and that the fact that he can't sleep, she says, "Oh, it's okay. Just look like you're all right. Be bright tonight when we have this dinner, and everything will be fine." Macbeth tries really hard to respond to that, to maintain some sense of that marital bond, saying, "Oh, yes, so shall I, and I pray be you." And then in this really odd moment, he says, when you see Banquo, who of course he knows is not even going to be there, Banquo is dead, okay? He says, "Present him eminence, both with eye and tongue, unsafe the while." So, again, this is him trying to maintain some sense of a bond with her, as well as hiding his intentions. We will make our faces vizards, so we will hide how we are feeling and disguise what we know has occurred. Now, does Lady Macbeth know that Banquo's dead? That's the big question. If you go to the next slide, she says, "You must leave this." Like repetition of, when she tells him, "Wash your hands. It'll all be okay. It'll all be okay." And he can't do that. All right. He here says, "Oh, full of scorpions is my mind, dear wife." If you go back to Act 3, Scene 1, lines 67 and 68, where he speaks of the rancors in the vessel of my peace, this is a repetition of that sort of evil entering into his psyche. Then he goes on and he says, "There's comfort yet. They are assailable. Then be thou jocund." Oh, okay. Wait, don't love that next part. But anyway, so Lady Macbeth here is losing her control. He is at this point doing whatever he has to do. So Macbeth is now taking control. That's an arrow. Taking control. To try to eliminate this threat of Banquo. And that threat, he mentions here, "There shall be done a deed of dreadful note." And that, of course, is, what you're about to see, which is going to be Banquo's murder. Right. Okay. What's to be done? Oh. Let's pretend we don't know, or maybe she does know. He tells her, be innocent of the knowledge, dearest Chuck. Look at that language, still trying to maintain some sort of normalcy. What knowledge is this? What knowledge? Okay. What knowledge is he referencing here? Till thou applaud the deed. Applaud the deed meaning, till you find out what I've done to secure our future. Yeah, right. And then these lines here are very similar to Lady Macbeth's lines. Call her Lady M here. Back in Act 1. Oh, shoot. Oh, hold on. Sorry. Lady Macbeth lines, Act 1, Scene 5, line 40. That's, when he says, come, sealing night, scarf up the tender eye, pitiful day, and with thy bloody and invisible hand, cancel and tear to pieces that great bond meaning my bond with Banquo, which keeps me pale. So if you look back at Act 1, Scene 5, line 40, these are very similar lines to Lady Macbeth's when she says, come, thick night, and pall thee in the dun smoke of hell, that my keen knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark to cry, hold, hold. Also, maybe not so much those lines as these, actually. Make thick my blood, stop up the access and passage to remorse, that no compunctious visitings of nature shake my fell purpose, nor keep peace between the effect and it. So, yeah, wow. This is that, this is the evidence here that their bond is actually breaking. Right? They are now committing themselves to a power outside of their marriage that will keep them pale, or keep him pale, where light thickens, so light here is distorted. The bond with Banquo is gone. Good things of day are drooping and drowsing, and the night's black agents are rousing. So we have a very sad ending to this scene, where evil now has taken root. And has actually not only planted itself, but it is now reproducing.